Okay, I'm going to be reading the book Clark the Shark, written by Bruce Hale and illustrated by Guy Francis. So, Clark the Shark is the book about a student at Roosterfish Elementary called Clark who sometimes forgets how his actions affect those around him. The affordances that I'm going to be looking at today are the use of rhyme as a literary device, vocabulary choices to assist children in better articulating themselves and developing meaning, and also the narrative structure where Clark grows as a character and how this will help children develop empathy and also to reflect on their own behaviours and how they affect those around them. The learning intentions are for a code breaker. Students can understand, recognise word clusters, break words into phonemes, and understand rhymes, and a text participant learning intention, where students will discuss the text, compare how it reflects on their own experiences. The scholarly research that I'm looking at here is stemming from Chambers in 1996, when he recognised the importance of children talking about the text that they are reading. This engages them in making text connections, encourages them to activate prior knowledge, create opportunities to extend their language and build vocabulary. Along with this, I'm going to be looking at Bloom's taxonomic structures, and here students will, according to Bloom, apply learning to themselves while also creating original ideas through evaluation, comparison, and reflection. I think interestingly as well, we've got the work of Stanovich in '86 when he said, "The rich get richer," which basically is the more we talk about things, the more we learn. The more we learn, the more we talk, and this process helps us develop our literary capabilities. So enough about that, and now for the story. One thing we're immediately told about Clark the Shark is that he's the biggest and the strongest fish at his school. Biggest and strongest, kind of like loudest and smartest. One thing we're immediately told about Clark the Shark is that, and later in the book, we see that Clark shouted, he yelled, and he bellowed. Again, can you see a pattern here in the words? What are they? Speaking about patterns, we've got Clark the Shark, and his teacher is Mrs. Inky Dink. So there seems to be something there. What do you notice about these words? At a certain point in the book, Clark asks, "What's wrong with everyone?" Mrs. Inky Dink patted his fin and said, "Clark, sometimes you play too hard. You munch too hard. Gosh, even help too hard." "But school is so exciting," said Clark. "Yeah, there's a time and a place for everything," said Mrs. Inky Dink. "Sometimes the rule is to stay cool." It's pretty good advice. Can you think of a time when you got too excited and maybe lost your cool? See, the thing with Clark is he loves school so much. Sometimes he plays a little too hard. Sometimes he's too loud. He's too wild. There's too much shark for the other fish to handle. But do you think Clark is a bad shark? Why? And after he has this little talk with Mrs. Inky Dink, she tells him that the rule is to stay cool. Well, do you think Clark will listen? Do you think he'll change his behaviour? So it looks like Clark does change. When the lessons got exciting and Clark wanted to jump out of his seat, he told himself, "Teachers are talking, don't go walking." And all the food looked so good. But he reminded himself, only munch your own lunch. And at playtime, Clark told himself, easy does it. That's the way. Them, my friends, will let me play. Looks like Clark's rhyming as a way to help him remember things. Maybe we could try doing that ourselves. Anyway, I think that's all for today. We'll pick this up again next time.